right, so starting on number 24, what we're looking at today is triangle congruency. So one way I can mark an angle, if there's an x, so I can say that this angle is equal to this other angle. We call it the vertical angle theorem. So this one's asking if two triangles are congruent. If they are, state how do you know. I notice that each triangle, I'm looking at one triangle, and I'm looking for two marks, either two sides or two angles. And in this case, two sides. So I'm gonna put my two sides. And then there's the angle, and I ask myself, is the angle between the sides? Which in this case it is. I take a look at the other triangle, is marked the same way, so side angle side. Looking at number 25, I can mark this angle with this angle, once again, vertical angle theorem. Here it is stated what additional information is required to know that the triangles are congruent for the reason given. We want side angle side. The angle's already given, so I'm missing a side. I want the side to be in the middle. So I'm gonna say this side and this side. So I'm just gonna say ML, the side ML is equal to the side LR. The order of the letters does not matter. So RL or whatever. So questions like 25, they have to be congruent. From the three marks that we're supposed to have, we're missing one of them. I'm asking which one. Now, any questions on these? Looking at 26, we have find the value of x. Now here on my instructions, it says question 65 through 66, and inside parentheses, I have 78 to 79. The reason why, because it is question 65 through 66 in the final. That's what it is. Unfortunately, in the final, a mistake. I wrote on the final, it says question 78 through 79, even though it's 65 through 66. So that's why I wrote that in the parentheses, just to say it's a typo in the final, but it's really 65 through 66. So ignore that typo once you take in the final. All right, now looking at this, when I combine one angle and the other angle, I notice is the angle of a line. So I'm just going to add everything, 3x plus 2 plus 2x plus 13, and it's going to equal to 180. Because all of it is the angle of a line. The left side, I can combine my like terms. 3x plus 2x, we're going to call that 5x. Then 2 plus 13, I'm going to call that 15. This is equal to 180. Let me subtract 15 on each side. 5x equals 165. Let me divide both sides by 5, and then we're going to have 33. The instructions are find the value of x, so x equals 33. Any questions on these? For the next, let me take a look at three questions at once. Number 27, find the interior angle sum for each polygon. Run your answer to the nearest tenth if necessary. I remember for the angles on the inside, I gave you guys a formula n minus 2 times 180. N is how many sides we have. Now we have a regular quadrilateral. So quadrilateral means that it's 4 sides. So for me to find out how much all of them add up to, I'm going to go 2 times 180. And the 2, because I went n minus 2. 2 times 180 is 360. So quadrilateral should be 360, the angles on the inside. Now question number 28, I'm asking find a measure of one exterior angle. Run your answer to the nearest tenth. All the angles on the outside, right, exterior angle, all the angles on the outside add up to 360. I have to divide this by 24. So 360 divided by 24. According to my calculator, I get 15. If I had a decimal, round it to the nearest 10, one decimal place. Now, number 29, the idea for 29 is add the angles on the inside. I'm just going to go 91x minus 1 plus 90 plus 90 plus 90 is equal to 360. Because I'm doing the formula in minus 2 times 1/8. Right? If I add all the angles on the inside, I know some of 90s, you guys might be thinking of doing it other ways, but it's not always going to be a rectangle. It could be a different picture. So on the left side, let me combine my like terms. 91x is just 91x, but I'm going to go -1 plus 90 plus 90 plus 90. That happens to be 269. It's equal to 360. Let me subtract 269 from each side. I have the 91x is equal to 91. So x in this case is 1. I added the angles and then added to 360. And I know I added to 360 because of n minus 2 times 1/8. It is not always going to be a rectangle. On your test, if I switch the questions, notice how my question number 29 switched to not a triangle, not a rectangle. So it could be something like that. So it will change. But remember, add them all, and it is equal to n minus 2 times 1/8. Any questions on these? Now, looking at parallelograms, looking at number 30, it says each figure is a parallelogram. I have the numbers on the inside, so I'm dealing with an angle. Well, I'm dealing with angles. Let's see this thing. Gotta love technology only sometimes. Not working. And just looking at number 30, the angles on the inside, so the numbers are on the inside. So if they were opposite, if my numbers were opposite, I would let them equal each other. But in this case, they are adjacent. My numbers are adjacent, which means they are connected by a side. So I'm going to add them up. 6x plus 10 plus 110 is equal to 180. Once again, because they're adjacent, I'm going to add them up. It equals 180. If they were opposite, so 110 instead of being there was here, I will let them equal each other. But in this case, they're adjacent. So I'll have 6x. It's just 6x. 110 plus 10, I'm going to call that 120. This is equal to 180. Let me subtract 120 from each side. Have the 6x equal 60. So x must be 10. Looking at question number 31, my numbers are on the outside. So I am talking about the sides. They're opposite sides. So 2x minus 2 equals 18. Let me add 2 to both sides. 2x equals 20. So x must be 10. Any questions on these? Now, state the most specific name for each figure. I see number 32. The top and the bottom are parallel. That's what the arrows mean. They're different sides. So I call that trapezoid. If the sides, those two, were marked the same, so they were congruent, if they were, I would have called it isosceles trapezoid. But because the sides are not, I'm just going to call it trapezoid. Now, looking at number 33, I see that all the angles are equal. So that makes it a rectangle. I see that all the sides are equal. So that makes it a rhombus. A rectangle and a rhombus combined, we call that square.